When I was in the first grade of elementary school, I remember looking at my friend drawing something, maybe a cartoon, in his notebook while the teacher was teaching in front of the class. And after a while, the teacher came walking up to him and immediately snatched the notebook right out of his hands while he was still drawing, and then threw the notebook right out the window. Needless to say, I was shocked. But I believe similar stories happen elsewhere too, where adults or in general see this kind of activities as a bad habit or a distraction from studying. At that time, I realized that I should never ever draw in class. But I kept drawing in my free time. In fact, drawing is something that I've always been doing ever since I can remember. At first, I was really into drawing dinosaurs. I would remember the name of every species of dinosaurs. I would have these small dinosaur figures at home, which I like to play with in my garden. I would imagine that the tiny patch of vegetation inside a ditch is the huge forest where the dinosaurs roam. And after some time, my interest shifted from dinosaurs to something else, but they have always been related to nature. And I think it is simply because of the environment that I grew up with. I grew up in a countryside where I had chances to climb trees, walk through the lush jasmine garden of my grandmother, ride bicycle through the golden rice field in the evening, and wake up to the cold, thin mist of winter. These are the things that I grew up with. And they all have responsibility in shaping my appreciation in nature. So I appreciate the blooming flowers. I appreciate the tall tamarind trees that I have at home. I appreciate the animals that my grandfather used to keep, including dogs, cats, chickens, goats, and even a cow. And of course, I appreciate birds. And just like everyone, I was first attracted to the cute and colorful birds. For example, this one, which is a very common and also very colorful common kingfisher, which is a bird that I saw just around my house. Or this brightly colored red-headed trogon, which literally stunned me when I first saw a pair of them in Chiang Mai. But after some time, my interest and my experience with birds developed, and I began to appreciate the less colorful ones more. A lot of these brown, boring-looking birds, they actually have some of the most beautiful songs or some of the extraordinary behaviors. For example, this Latum snipe, which is a bird that breeds in the city which I used to live in Japan. I remember the first time when I saw this bird, I was busy taking photos of flowers inside a marsh, and then I heard a zooming sound like one of those jet planes coming from behind. And within a split second, I saw a bird skydiving from really high up in the sky and landed right next to me. And the sound was like, I never realized that a bird looking like that can have such amazing flight display. And because I appreciate these brown birds, which all look pretty much the same, I was able to find a new species of bird for Thailand and also for Southeast Asia, which is a bird called the Redheaded bunting. And as you can see from the photo here, it looks pretty much like a normal sparrow. So at the same time, while I was doing bird watching, I never stopped drawing. So every weekend, I would be either out somewhere in the woods or in the middle of the rice field, looking for birds and also sketching them. I've never had any special tutoring courses for exams. After school, when I went back home, I would throw my bag away as soon as possible. But I managed to graduate high school with one of the highest GPAs in my class. And it was mainly because I paid full attention to the lectures and I tried to finish homeworks as soon as possible. And that way, no one could ever blame me for digging into my hobby too much that I lacked responsibility. So I kept drawing, and more people started seeing my works when I went out in the field. And then they all gave positive feedback about my works. And that made me feel like I wanted to share my works with more and more people. And I started a Facebook page to showcase my artworks. But there was one particular event which happened quite a long time ago, when I had a chance to meet one of Thailand's most well-known wildlife artists, Mr. Kamon Plin, who was the first to ever criticize my works directly. It was harsh, because you have to imagine that I was about 13 or 14 years old and have only been praised for my exceptional drawing skill compared to other 13-year-old kids. And then came this guy who actually criticized my works as an adult. But instead of letting his comments discourage me, I turned them into a positive energy. I pushed myself and I worked harder in order to improve my drawing skill, even though back then I had completely no idea how birds drawing would help me earn a living. So I kept drawing, and I kept posting them on my Facebook page. And then one day, a foreign guy contacted me, saying that he is interested in buying some of my sketches. And I was confused. I've never sold any of my works before. And the hardest thing for me was to come up with the right price for my painting. And in the end, I agreed to sell my sketches, a small one about this size, at around $100 or about 3,000 baht each. And this was one of the sketches that he bought. So he bought 4 of them at once. And for a teenager like me back then, it was quite a big amount of money that I could make. And that was the first time that I realized that this hobby of mine might actually earn me something. So after the first set of paintings being sold, there were more and more orders coming. A Spanish wildlife arts magazine also wrote an article about me and introducing my work. And not only individuals who contacted me for my paintings, I was contacted by the author of a book on birds of prey of Thailand and Southeast Asia, asking if I would like to join the team as the illustrator. Well, of course, I said yes. And right now, I can sell some of my works at about $400. And earlier this year came the biggest project that I have ever worked on. A guy from the UK contacted me asking if I am interested in joining a book project on shorebirds of the world. And this project would last for more than 5 years, and it would earn me quite a significant amount of income. And because of all this, it made me feel like my hard work is slowly being paid off. But of course, I am not intending to stop developing myself. I still want to improve my drawing skill more and more so that one day I will be able to rely solely on birds illustration and fully call myself an artist. So, looking back to just a little more than a decade ago, I was just a boy doing what I liked to do, which was drawing and bird watching, without knowing how they will affect my future career. And I believe that every one of you here have something that you like to do in your free time. It might not be something big or special. People around you might tell you that it is silly, it is just a waste of time or a distraction from studying. But I would like to say that if you really like doing it, if you really have passion for it, then go for it. Find a way to master it. But of course, without neglecting your main duty right now, which is studying. And this way, I believe that you will be able to create a life that you are happy to live with and a meaningful life. Thank you.